is Shraddha?
My name is Shraddha, and I feel that there is a connection of being a faith builder. And
Really?
obviously, she's a mother, and the other roles that she plays, and most of all, she's a leader and a learner as well.
You said you wear several roles, right? Mother, coach, author. How do you maintain balance between all of these roles in all areas of your life and everything that you're trying to do?
I think I don't look for balance because for me, balance means one is falling off and one is thriving.
What's the most adventurous thing that you've ever done?
My family with my daughter. My daughter was just 7, and we did a trek to a peak. It's 7-day long trek, snow -10 degrees and stuff. But it's been the most adventurous journey of my life, along with my family, and for the deep me inside, very healing, very energizing.
What's your guilty pleasure with regards to food?
I love rabdi a lot, and also mastani is something that I love. In Maharashtra, you would find that it's ice cream plus milkshake.
Oh,
That's how it goes in with some toppings and stuff like that.
if Shraddha wasn't a coach, what would she be?
I would do more of writing and more of social work to connect with more people.
If you were to give your younger self an advice now, what would that be?
Let go more. She could have been more wiser if she had let go on a few things more, possibly.
You are here to disrupt the coaching industry here. What changes do you believe are really necessary in the traditional coaching approach to bring about this disruption that you envisage and vision?
As a coaching industry, we can't sit on another planet and expect people to come to the planet if they want some transformation to happen. We have to move along much faster and at that pace where the world is moving.
What's that one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm a great dancer.
Ooh, can you see? There you go. Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to everyone present here. We are on the third episode of our podcast, Learning Lounge where leaders share. This podcast is where we have a rendezvous with great speakers, connecting heart to heart and learning from their stories, their journeys, and their experiences. I'm so delighted to have with us today Shraddha Subramanian on the podcast. A very hearty welcome to you, Shraddha. Before I give a quick introduction, thank you for putting up your hand and saying, "Yeah, I'm willing to be vulnerable and share my story for others to learn from." A little bit about Shraddha before I start firing my questions to her. Shraddha is India's first intuition expert. I think that is really intriguing. We would talk to Shraddha more about what does being an intuition coach, intuition expert mean. Apart from that, she's a business and executive coach, an NLP master practitioner, certified in shadow mastery. She's authored a best-selling book called as Circle of Perspectives. Again, we'll talk about it a little later in the session. And she's the founder and CEO of Sparkling Soul. Such an intriguing name yet again. Shraddha helps businesses to generate 10 times in half the time, 10 times in half the time they have planned by using the power of energy and intuition. So very intriguing work also that you do, Shraddha. Now you know why I'm so excited about this podcast. She is a LinkedIn top voice. She's established herself as a thought leader in the industry. She has 20 years of leadership experience and over 3,500 hours of coaching under her belt. She's with her training impacting about 7,500 lives from 22 different countries. She deserves a big round of applause to be here. Yeah. So thank you, Shraddha. Are you ready to face my questions today? You're not able to unmute yourself. 1 second. Doesn't work. Okay. Now you should be able to.
Okay, thank you so much, Shanti, for that lovely introduction. And I'm Very happy to share this space with all of you. Thank you for inviting me here, Shanti. It means a lot.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So, Shraddha, yes, you heard me call out a few things from your bio, but I'd really like to know who is Shraddha?
So, Shraddha is a faith builder, a hope creator, wealth circulator because I work with a lot of business owners and in general as well. I love to do that. So there are different identities that I carry. My name is Shraddha, and I feel that there is a connection of being a faith builder. So I help people to build faith in themselves and in the process of life, in their businesses, all of that. As a hope creator, obviously there's a lot that can be created out there just by speaking few words to people, just to share as a speaker, as we are doing right now, like the role of a hope creator right there. So yeah, for me, she is all this.
So
And
brilliant.
obviously she is a mother, and the other roles that she plays, and most of all, she is a leader and a learner as well. So that's
Lovely.
where, yeah.
Lovely. Some more questions to get to know you a little bit better, Shraddha.
Sure.
What's your favorite way to unwind after a very long and arduous day?
I'll just meditate, maybe lying down on the bed, just something deep, music,
Hmm?
instrumental one, just that's it, like, or maybe read couple of pages, uh, or maybe sleep, like that's it, like just
Sleep,
unwind.
meditate, sleep. Hear that loud and clear. So, Shraddha, if you could have dinner with one historical figure, who would that be and why?
It's going to be Tony Robbins for sure. He's one of my favorites and one of my role models. I think when I started my career in the coaching industry, there was a profound impact that his work and his presence had in my life so far. And one of the aspirations that I have is to be called as Tony Robbins of India. So obviously, that's meeting him and really having, sharing a meal with the person, and just Tony Robbins versus Tony Robbins. Like,
Oh, lovely. Global Tony Robbins versus Indian Tony Robbins. I
yes.
love that. Wish for your dream to come true
Thank
very, very
you, Shanti. And that's why putting it out loud out here into the universe.
soon.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely. What's the most adventurous thing that you've ever done?
The most adventurous thing I would say I've done is to a trek to Himalayas. It was last year in May. My family with my daughter. My daughter was just 7, and we did a trek to a peak. It was a 7 day long trek, snow, -10 degrees and stuff. But it's been the most adventurous journey of my life, along with my family, and for the deep me inside, very healing, very energizing. So yeah,
Did your
that's
daughter
one of
enjoy
the
it?
things. Sorry.
Did your daughter enjoy it too?
She did a lot, and there is a different her I feel post that. Yeah, definitely she did it with
Wow,
me.
that is so much courage to all women out here to experiment and take that risk with your kids.
Just there.
Put them out there.
Correct.
Lovely.
Thank you.
What's your guilty pleasure with regards to food?
There's one food that I love a lot. I mean, rather two, I would say. I love rabdi a lot, and also there's this mastani is something that I love. So these two,
Honey?
yeah. There's a specific dish in Maharashtra. You would find that it's ice cream plus milkshake.
Oh,
That's how it goes in with some toppings and stuff like that. Or if you call it for all the other people, it could be faluda as well. So that's another favorite. So that's me.
lovely, lovely. So Shraddha, name one book that you've read recently that you would want to recommend to everyone here on the call.
There are many, but one which has very profound impact on my life is The Surrender Experiment
Mhm.
by Michael Singer. And I think it had shattered a lot of my beliefs and surrendering to the process of life. I think it's one of the biggest ones, I would say.
I know where how that book has influenced you in so many ways, and we're going to be talking about it. Just I didn't know that this was your book to recommend, but I can relate to based on our conversation.
You're
Lovely.
being so intuitive right here, and I appreciate that, Shanti.
Okay. So let's talk about a few things a little bit more serious. You said you wear several roles, right? Mother, coach, author. How do you maintain balance between all of these roles in all areas of your life and everything that you're trying to do?
I think I don't look for balance because for me, balance means one is falling off and one is thriving. And, that's not a connotation that I would like to really look at, because then it feels that you are winning in one and losing in another.
Mhm.
But what I would look for is harmony or creation in all the spaces. And the degree of creation can vary depending on where you would want to put your heart and soul in those moments in that period of time. So I think it gets very clear in those aspects, to create those boundaries for myself, that okay, fine, the degree of creation as a mother is this much, maybe degree of creation as a coach is this much, and then the other relationships that I have, uh, versus the degree of me with myself. There's a lot that goes in myself, because I consider myself as the first person that I must take care of to really show up in all the other roles. So the degree varies every single day. And then I remind myself of that degree. If it falls off, then I know to come back. It's not like, okay, you know what, it's always not going to be taken care one area and then you keep thriving in the other. So I think it generally goes like that. My calendar also reflects that a lot. I mean, hardly it would be right I am out there and I don't know what I'm up to. Um, Life happens, and still go out of the box and out of your plans. It happens, but I think over the years, I'm a person who is very much like to be in the flow. So uh, being organized used to be a challenge for me earlier, because I'm a person who is in the flow. But now I've learned to be structured, and within that structure, I've learned to flow. So that's where I think I create my own prioritization, you can call, or you can call my creation, just like that. So I'm free flowing, yet I'm structured in my own way. So that's the way I go about in creating that me in different roles possible.
How beautiful. A very curious question. How do you define flow for yourself?
So, a flow means for me the high energy level, because I teach energy and intuition. So, the high energy comes from a space that, how can I go very low on the resistance? A very simple example could be 4 o'clock, my daughter comes home from school, and then those 2 hours, 2.5 hours are dedicated to her. Now, free flowing is like whatever she wants to do. I don't have an agenda about that period. So, though I have a structure of 2.5 hours with my daughter, I keep it fluid, flowing. So, whatever comes up at that point in time, I address that and we have a good time like that. So, that's a very simple example. But yeah, that's how I define being structured and as well as flowing in that structure.
Lovely. Thank you for that share, Shraddha. Shraddha, you are India's first intuition coach. That's a big hat to wear. It's a crown to wear, I would say.
Thank you.
But I would like to understand, how do you define intuition and how has it changed your approach to business, leadership, life, whatever?
So, intuition is that subtle voice in your head or picture in front of you or the sensation that you feel. It could be anything, it comes in different very many ways. For some there will be a visual that would show up, for some they will be able to hear a voice telling them something. So intuition is basically your internal navigation system. That's what I call it. You have an external navigation system in terms of maps, and your go-to people, those are your external navigation systems. But then the challenge with that is when you go to people to ask for support, and they view you from certain aspects, certain perspective, and that's how they help you with some solutioning and whatever it is. But with intuitions, it's not like that. When you are asking for guidance within, which is available every moment in your life, then you receive the answer based on who you are at that moment. So there's no past experience attached to it. There's nothing attached to it. Who you are being in this moment is where that guidance comes into. So intuitions is internal navigation system for me personally, and to whomsoever I work with. And that will only come when you are having the energy as high, because you can't have intuitive self working for you in the zone of pressure.
Yeah. Um, Brilliant. Thank you for that, helping us understand what is intuition for yourself. So, when and how did you discover the power of intuition for yourself, Shraddha, and decided, okay, I am going to become an expert in intuition and related fields?
So I think from the time I remember myself, Shanti, this has been one of my traits for sure. I could sense people, I could sense spaces, I could sense, the environment I was in. And I clearly sense the disconnect and connect pretty fast, like that. So people with the same energies, the sense of connection builds very fast, and different energies, the sense of disconnection happens very fast. So I've been knowing myself like that. But then what happened in 2012, when my journey from being an employee to not exactly the entrepreneurship, it started in 2018, but the shift happened that I must do something about my purpose that was flowing to me when I came out of cancer, and that guided me to be in the coaching space or do something to help people. I realized more and more and more that when people approach me with their challenges, I could sense what's the root, where exactly it started, those incidents, those visuals, those statements that they told to themselves in those moments were very visible, very, I could sense them, hear them. And I used to actually I tell people, like, you keep saying this to yourself every single day. And they were like, really? Yeah, we do that very often. How do you know about it? So that's the power of, intuitive self, which I realized. And then over the years now, as the sampling has increased, obviously I've been doing a lot of coaching work and the huge amount of discovery calls that I do, where people come over and share about their life, and I tell them that this is what is your root block versus what you are bringing to me, as a superficial block. So that sampling has increased. Overall, every single day I feel blessed that, this was innate in me and I could capture it. And then, now I have harnessed it totally, which is helping the world grow in many ways and me grow in many ways together.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. So tell us a little bit about your book, Circle of Perspectives. I do understand it focuses on self-mastery. So tell us more about the book.
So the book Circle of Perspectives, this was in 2013 when I was traveling for work to London. I always used to carry self-help books, and I remember myself very much into self-help. From when, I don't know, but that excited me a lot always. So I would read and I would write. So 2013, when I was writing what I want to do, I had written that I want to be an author. So I think from that space it came very well. And when I sat to write the book, I wanted to write. So leadership had been one of my go-to spaces always. Always excited what leaders do, how they do it in general with humans, but then with leaders more learning. So initially, the title of my book was The Leader in Me. But then, because I felt it would be just taken as an organizational help, I had to change it to Circle of Perspectives because and then I have dedicated a chapter of my book to leadership because that's so close to my heart, that topic of leadership and how people show up. So every chapter, I divided the whole book or the whole experience of the book, and it is a workbook in itself because I want people to not just read it, pass through it, and gain and move forward. Even if you're reading a page, it should be something meaningful for you. So I created a workbook along internal to the book. You will find those spaces where you fill your own information and details and what you feel. So divided into seven, your five areas of your life. So one area is you yourself. Second is your occupation, your business, or your work that you do as a working professional. Third is your money. Fourth is your relationship, and fifth is your community. Because I feel that these five areas are so much important for you to see and feel that what's the progress, and that's the holistic progress I feel. And that's where, when I call it as a book to self mastery, that means, when you are a leader in all the areas, again, that degree could be what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be 10 on 10 or a plus in every aspect, but the degree to which you feel you want it to be, you are playing that. And that's when this book came to me. None of the words or none of the things that I wrote in the book are researched. It's all my own experience of life that I have captured in every chapter, in every area of my life, how I experienced, what I wanted it to be, what my understanding has been for giving insights to people as they read. So all of that was my own learning and understanding, and that's what I wanted to bring it on the table to people.
Lovely. I know you poured your heart out in the book, and you have this power or unique ability to identify, intuit what is causing unconscious blocks for people. Would it be possible for you to share an example where you've helped someone overcome a significant barrier based on either what you put out in the book or based on your intuition?
So I'll share a couple of examples from the discovery calls because those are the spaces where people come up with a lot of superficial blocks. And then when I go into the intuitive side of me, it channelizes and then I share. So one of the art gallery owners in Hyderabad who was wanting to expand his business. And he came to me saying that, Shraddha, I want to expand my business and I need your help for that. And then I, obviously asking him that how is it going and what are the challenges you feel. And outrightly he said there's less time and I'm not able to put effort. Like this is very common aspect that every other business owner or even working professionals would come and talk about. But let me tell you, this is very superficial. There's something right there, and it's different for different people.
Yeah.
So for him, when I started to dig and I asked, like, how, what are you currently doing? He said, I spend a lot of time with my two boys, and but still they are not happy because I am spending a lot of time. They're still not happy, which makes me more feel, as a father, that what am I doing? I'm not expanding my business. I'm giving so much time to my kids, and it's all messy situation right there. So then I asked him, how was it for you as a child growing up? I could sense there was a pattern that was flowing in right here into his present moment, coming from the past. And he said, for anything and everything that he wanted, he was asked to go to his elder siblings. And that made him, as a child, feel that he didn't receive that love and attention he deserved from his parents. Nothing right, nothing wrong. Like, parents did what they did. They didn't had any intention, that he could understand that. But yes, he was carrying that, and this was a sign up for him, saying that my parents didn't share time with me. But then he was doing the same by giving huge amount of time to his sons. There was no boundary out there. There was no quality time. It was quantity time, and that was pissing off his boys, that you're always around. You're always, like a helicopter. You're always sitting right there. This is not working for us. So the sine wave, he feeling and he doing the same thing, though it was the two opposite sides, but exactly the same thing. So I always tell people, you have to be very, very mindful of the patterns that you carry. So when I express this thing to him, that what, this is what is happening in your life, and it's time for you to set boundaries for yourself, that you will focus on your business, and you take help of your kids, how much they would want you to be invested in them. They will be vocal about it, take help, and just then move on. And today, that person actually wanted to write a script and direct a movie, and do two three more businesses. He has achieved all of that. He sent me a link to his movie that he directed. It was a short movie, but yes, that's what he wanted to do. But he was able to achieve all of that just with my that insight, that what, you are living like this. So this was one example. The other one was with a CA who came to me saying that, Shraddha, I want to increase my business, but what I'm seeing is my team members are doing a lot of mistakes, and I have to really sit and correct their work also, and my work is also expanding. And then I asked him, how are you going to do all of that? And his answer was, I'm going to hire more people. And I'm like, is your team already efficient and you want to hire? And this is a very classic business scenario that most of the business owners go with. And because the work is not getting completed, they feel we need more people, versus looking at what's happening right there. Not only in terms of applying the efficient mechanisms, the productivity hacks, but productivity hacks are again like a superficial thing. What goes inside is, you as a business owner are going to create the organization exactly like you. I always say your business is your extension. The way you show up, the way they will show up. And then I asked him, what happens when you get a case to work upon some things? And he was like, I pick it up, I put that aside, and when the deadline comes, I will finish the work right there. So deadlines drive me, Shraddha. I complete my work, but it takes a huge amount of energy out of me, because I'm always running with the deadlines, even if I know I have to finish that work, which doesn't happen on time. For standard. So quickly, he shared that one of my teachers had shared that you will need to read more. And he developed that statement, isko dekhna padega. Literally, I told him this words, that where do you say isko dekhna padega? I was like, in every case that I pick up, I say that and I keep it aside. And when the deadline comes, I deliver. So knowing that fact, Shanti, and he wanted to create a big office, a huge amount of team. And today he has achieved all of that. In 6 months of time, when we worked together, his team started to reflect and bring better work to him, because he was shifting in his energy of his own way of operating, from his own space of leaving that incident, that thing behind, and operating from where he is right now with his intuitions and energy. And these are two beautiful examples, and there are many such more. I have a whole directory, we can fill it up with those examples. But yeah, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, and this is very intuitive, that when it comes to work with people.
You are here to disrupt the coaching industry here, Shraddha.
Yes, I am. Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
What changes do you believe are really necessary in the traditional coaching approach to bring about this disruption that you envisage and vision?
So what I envisage is, today, why people don't want to hire a coach, or don't want to work with a coach somewhere because they feel it's a very uphill journey. There will be a huge amount of work that will be required to be done, and it's going to take a huge amount of time for them to see the shift.
Mm.
And that's when we are talking about a world which is of 10-minute delivery, right? And when we are talking about the world moving at that pace, would a human transformation need that much of time? Is the question that I always put forward. And it's the question that's what I want people to really think, even the coaches to think what they are bringing on right here when they are talking to their prospects, the coaching that they are doing. And that's when I bring a lot of differentiating factors in the industry, because with the intuitive blocks that I can find, I massively cut down on the preparation for change time. So change is there or is it not there? Like if I ask you, Shanti, are you sleeping? You can't answer if you have slept. Versus a second before, you would say, I am awake, Shraddha. Yes, talk to me. Right? Change is like that. It's just a flick of a second. It's not gray, it's black and white.
Mm.
It's the preparation for change that takes a huge amount of time for a human to make that change finally. Now,
Yeah.
I massively cut down on the preparation for change time because intuitively I can see where the blocks are. I can help them identify that and we can surpass them pretty fast because now the knowing itself is super strong.
Mm.
So that's the I would say that's my creation of that space. So I don't want people to keep sitting with me for a year or for 6 months even.
Mm.
One session, two session, three sessions. I have had people having transformation experienced in a free discovery call. Whatever they wanted to create in 2 days, I receive a call from a prospect saying that I wanted to do a event. She was an event manager. I wanted to do a event in US. So I've signed up for that. So that kind of things I've experienced, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I want people to experience. As a coaching industry, we can't sit on another planet and expect people to come to the planet if they want some transformation to happen. We have to move along much faster and at that pace where the world is moving. And I think that's why we need to be right there, present. And the presence and intuitive self is what is going to create so much for everyone out there, not only for coaches to understand the blocks, but also for people where they are, what they are exactly doing. And that's what I would like it to be. That's the disruption I would like to cause to the industry.
Lovely. So let's lighten the mood, Shraddha. I'm going to throw some
Sure.
rapid fire questions. Uh,
Sure.
you can answer anywhere between a word to a sentence. Nothing
Okay.
more. Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, what's that one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
I'm a great dancer.
Ooh, can you see the move? There you go. What's the most significant lesson motherhood has taught you?
Oh, this can't be done in one sentence for sure. But I think in my book, I have dedicated my book to my daughter, saying that, you know what, thank you for giving me a rebirth.
Wow. Wow. If Shraddha wasn't a coach, what would she be?
I would be writing more possibly. So I would be an author any which ways. I would do more of writing and more of social work to connect with more people and create that impact. Like I would do that for sure.
Um, how do you stay motivated in a rough, stormy day?
I think my daughter, my family, they're always right there, and I believe in speaking up whenever I feel rough. So, so I just put it out there, and I think putting it out there, defining it, actually defines it. Defining it defines it. So then it's
Protect
not
it,
beyond
but
that.
you first need to be able to articulate about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when I define it, it gets a definition. So it gets shrink any which ways. It is defined now that not beyond this. It's like this only. And I think then there's a pathway that gets created, and a lot of answers I received from my daughter, and she's just 8. But I would really like to mention that if there are any challenges, any questions, I put it right there to her, not in the space to really understand the answer from her. But I think in some subtle behaviors, in some conversations, my questions are answered. So I feel blessed about it.
Stay blessed. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Thanks, dear.
If you were to give your younger self an advice now, what would that be?
Let go more,
Let go
for
more.
sure.
Let
Let go more.
let go. Yeah,
Let go. So she had let go a lot, but um, she could have been more wiser if she had let go on a few things more, possibly. So I think that is something that I would really would like her to know.
absolutely. And like all of our younger selves to know, I'm with you
Yes,
there.
yes, obviously.
Little bit on a serious note, Shraddha, earlier you mentioned you've battled cancer and you've been a victorious survivor. How has that experience influenced you, your coaching style, your being overall?
I think the most important thing that cancer gave me was my purpose. So if I'm sitting right here in front of you in this moment, sharing all this wisdom and learnings, I think I'm grateful to cancer for happening to me, coming to me, and then telling me that your path is different. So I think that is the most influence that has created. And now when I meet people, see people, that also has given me that sense of presence and being, that whatever it is, they might be going through something, uh, more empathetic in their own spaces that they are. I have always been empathetic. I remember I connected with people a lot, and I used to be very helpful all the time from the time I remember myself. But it gave me that, you never know the battle on the other side. So just be mindful of that space. And I think cancer gave me that as well, apart from this, whatever it is.
More power to you, more power to you.
Thank you, dear.
I know one more secret about you. You are a national level hurdler.
Yes.
And I could
True.
see that when you mentioned about, coaching needs to be quick, real quick results, and,
Yeah,
that
yeah, definitely.
speed. Yeah. How has that being the national level hurdler impacted your decisions, your life, your ability to coach, anything at all?
I think sports gave me a discipline, consistency, and much more than that, the mental strength. And that has helped me in huge way to see that where the person might be feeling challenged in their mental space, where the person is lacking consistency. These are the cues that I subtly pick up when I'm having a conversation with someone. And then, that's the gap that shows up, that they want to, but they are not. And then to make it pretty easy and pretty fast for them. So I don't want people to work hard, to be honest. And I'm saying that right here to you because, I have always believed, Shanti, that growth is the natural way of being. Even if a child who is undernourished still grows
Yeah, yeah.
without food, still grows, right? So growth is the only way. Growth is very natural. It has to come to you with a lot of ease. It doesn't have to be hard work. When we have been giving it the name of hard work, we are actually going in the opposite direction of our natural way of being. And when that is happening, we are then telling us that I can't do hard work, or hard work doesn't come naturally to me, or I can't be consistent, because for them, hard work is the only consistent thing. And when they're not doing hard work, they're feeling I'm not consistent. So I want to tell everybody right there, and that's what is my essence of working with people, is to help them in easy ways possible, and naturally into their weaving into their natural being, not really telling them, what, you can't do this, now you start doing this. It's not going to work. It will be very big uphill for them to grow. So that's where I keep it very easy and fast are the words I would say. That's what I would like it to be.
Lovely. That actually makes me curious. As somebody who really values speed and efficiency, what unconventional methods have you used to coach your clients so that they can achieve very quick, rapid transformations?
So I think the first piece for the business owners is the jackpot method that I have created for businesses. And this jackpot method has four pillars. The most important thing that I feel is your internal readiness. You can't create outside unless you are creating inside. And the thing that I find today in businesses, and that's what I'm here to transform, is whenever people have a goal, even in business leadership, even in corporate, if you're working, when people have goals, they generally ask themselves, how do I achieve my goal? That's like they want to bridge the gap with how, and that is only the doing part of it. And the doing part comes with hard work, consistency, dedication, all of that, really mixed right here in that space. Now, some people are self motivated, they will do by hook or crook, they'll make it happen. But for others, which is like 90 plus percent population, will need someone else to walk through, or whatever to make it happen, which is also an uphill task for them. Versus on the other side, when I go about it, I generally say, okay, first we have to understand what, so the goal, what is it that you want to achieve, why you want to achieve, that has to be very clear, because then that becomes like a launch pad for you, the springboard for you to really jump to the next level, and not walk and being pushed, and all of that doesn't need to happen. So that why becomes your springboard. Then the who you want to be to fulfill that what and why. Your identity would matter. And now from that identity, because now you're already on the springboard with why, and you have taken a jump to who, from that level, when you look what I want to reach, it
Hmm.
becomes very easy like that. And then you as a who can decide what could be my steps. Now comes the how do I, jump, where do I jump, which location I should choose. So these are the very subtle changes, Shanti, but then this differentiates, and these are the faster ways, because then the what and the why and the who is all your internal work. Once that is done, you are already on the launch pad and you're already up there. You are just about to take that action from that space, versus, well, you're here and you say how and jump. So that's much faster.
Like
That's the way I go about
you called it the jackpot. There is no way people can't win it, yeah?
it. Yeah.
So we know and we can see in your background, your organization is called as Sparking Soul. Tell us the inspiration behind the name. How did that come about?
So sparkling soul came from my mother,
Mm.
and she had herself been a cancer patient, but then she lived for 9.5 years, even after being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, where doctors had mentioned a year or two for her. She lived for that long. And I could always see that spark in her, irrespective of the fact that she has been very much sick, so much as bedridden as well. Her face would always show that peace, calmness, that aura, really like that. And She had been a sparkling soul, and that's why, I chose this name as Sparkling Soul, which is associated to my mother.
Very heartwarming. Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Shraddha, your time at Morgan Stanley in Tokyo has provided you with lots of global perspective. How did that global perspective influence your understanding overall? I mean, whatever aspect you would like to choose.
it really hit me a lot because I think I just had a year of experience when I went to Tokyo, and that was my first air trip directly to Tokyo. And now landing there, and we used to sit like the technology side, which I was part of on one side, and the business on the other side. So the same floor. And I could see the direct impact of my one line of code that would do on the business. Literally could see that. So that gave me a huge perspective. And I think my ability to see the big picture, even in the crisis, what are we up to, is a question that I ask myself today. What's the bigger thing that we want to create here? So I think that got developed from that space, and I'm really grateful for those experiences, very subtly knitted. But then when I look back, I see that the vision for me and the big picture for me is right there. And when I coach also today, I ask people, what is your aspiration to create? Not only the goal, but the big picture. Because then are your goals falling into that big picture is also a question to be answered. And when you're creating that big picture, the goals are already achieved, because then the big picture has more that will give you. So the jackpot is actually the big picture, to be honest. I want people to go unreasonable in what they can achieve. And then when we do that, they are far better in where they wanted to be, and they achieve that. So that's the connection, very deep.
For the stars, you will definitely be higher than what you hoped for. Absolutely.
Yes, so that's one of the things, yeah, similar to that. Yeah.
Um, I would love for you to share your deep connection with the national flag, emblem, anthem. I know the backstory, but
Oh my God, I think there's a lot right there, and being a national level hurdle racer, uh, I missed the India camp by a fraction of a second, so I made a false start twice at the nationals of a hurdle race, which I was part of, and I knew that the gold medal is mine, and I had worked hard for 5 long years for that, and really, enjoyed that bit, not like just working hard, but enjoyed every bit of my practice. So when that happened, I think the dream of playing for India was shattered, because after that, engineering came, and all of the things started to happen, and somehow couldn't focus to that aspect of my life. But when I started to coach the business owners, in 2020, 21 specifically, when the pandemic was there and a lot of businesses were facing issues, and when I started to help them with like 20-minute power conversation, I felt that I have made it to the India camp from this side, where I am helping one business at a time to grow so that the Indian economy grows. And I so much feel that connection right there inside of me. And my connection to the India flag is so huge that when last Olympics Neeraj Chopra had won, I remember I cried my heart out when the national anthem was playing right there at the medal ceremony, and I could feel I have won that. And I think that dream is still right there, shooting it out to the universe once again to play for India in whatever sport, whatever way possible. But I think today I carry that flag in my heart when I work with businesses, because I know I am impacting my country, I am contributing to my country with my work.
wow, wow. I know I've heard this story and still you are narrating, and I was like, okay, I'm getting
Yeah, even I could sense that and feel that. I always do.
wow. Um, when you reflect on your entire life's journey, And today, think about, I won't say your legacy is done yet, but I'm sure you created some bit of that legacy. Let's say 30 years from now, if I asked you, what's your legacy? What would you want to say at that point in time?
I'll tell you a beautiful exercise that I did in 2013 August for a workshop I went. And then they had asked us to write, what would your epitaph say? Epitaph is the uh, carving on your tombstone, right? That's how it goes. So I had written that keep smiling, there's more to live, and I'm just gone in physical way. I'm right there with you. So I think that's what I would like to say after 30 years, even now, whatever way it is, that, there's so much to keep smiling at, there's so much to keep living at. And I know whenever I speak with people, Shanti, even for a minute or two, even if they don't work with me or whatever, like whatever way I converse with people, there is always an intention that this person feels moved. And when that is the intention, the legacy is automatically created. It doesn't have to be in the names, it doesn't have to be like all right there. It can be just in the hearts of people, and I think that's it.
So brilliant, so brilliant.
Thank you.
I do have a few more questions and I'm mindful of time too. So I'll first open it out for
Sure.
any questions, see what they have. Very possible
Sure.
thinking what I have in my mind. If there
Sure.
are questions, I'll shoot mine. So
Sure.
people, please unmute yourselves and ask questions that you have.
Hello, Shraddha. I have a question.
Hi, Vaishnavi. Yeah, go ahead.
Very interesting profile and something very unique. Must say, this was very surprising
Thank
podcast
you.
episode for us, me specifically. One thing that I really liked was your phrase about your statement about growth. When you said growth is natural, that's interesting and most importantly inspiring. That gives everyone a motivation that I have an equal chance of getting there, or rather the universe definitely wants me to go to greater heights, and that's the truth. That's very inspiring. Thank you for mentioning that.
Thank you.
Having said that, just curious, from a coaching perspective, you also said that um, hard work is not the way forward. It is how we make the most out of the available resources, time, and see how we can reach our goals uh, in a way that is comfortable to all of us. But from what I understand, when you want people to transform, I think there is a lot of work that needs to be put in from the person who's investing time, effort, and they will be expected to do things slightly differently. Is that correct? In that case, how do you convince people to do things differently, especially when you have this concept that hard work is not the way forward, which is what everybody wants to listen to? So, as a coachee, say from that
Yeah.
perspective, how do I reach my goal quickly with less hard work? At the same time, how is it that I can see transformation with little effort from the way I have understood? That's my question.
Beautiful question, Vaishnavi, I would say. And see, what is transformation? Transformation is trans and then formation. So you're leaving one formation of yours, which is today, and you're moving into the next formation that you would like it to be. That's transformation for me. And I'm sure, now there will be a definition for all of us as well as I share this. So, the beautiful way to go about seeing that journey of going into trance is also from a space of energy. Because when I talk about a lot of energy and intuitions, we all know that energy cannot be created, neither destroyed. Energy can only change its forms. Now, very simply, where you want to go, you are not there because the current energy that you have the formation of that energy is not exactly what it needs to be for you to be right there in that space. So, what needs to change is the change of that energy in, in that form, so that that formation that you want happens. This is a very simple way when I go and sit with my coaches, and I try to help them understand that what is stuck inside of you is gold, but then it is covered with fears, anxiety, whatever, those clouds that we say the sunlight is, covered with clouds, something of that sort. But then the sunlight is there. So now my focus is always on the sunlight, helping them focus on that sunlight and not on the clouds. And the more and more they focus on the sunlight, the clouds start to fade away automatically. So, my whole intention of working with people to help them see their energy. So, where at all they have the right energy, focus on that. And then, when you focus more on that, you enhance that. Like you focus on the sunlight, you enhance the sunlight. Even in between the clouds, a ray of sunlight will be visible to you if you're focusing on the sunlight. And the more and more you're seeing the sunlight is expanding. What happens to the cloud? The clouds automatically go away. So my approach has been always to help them see that gold within themselves, that sunlight within themselves, that purity within themselves, that being within themselves, which is right there, out there in that formation. And when that core, we take it from here and put it right there, now the rest of the piece is very easy to create, whatever way. So that's how I go about it. And that's the fastest way to go about it. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Shraddha.
Lovely question and a lovelier answer. I so resonate with that. I mean, when you found your sunlight, hard work doesn't look like it. It looks the flow that you were defining,
Yes.
it looks you are there. It doesn't look like
Yes.
work anymore.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Any other questions for Shraddha?
Hello, Shraddha. Thank you, Shanti. This is Preeta here. I just wanted to know, do you render sessions, and how do you impart I mean, the way you coach, the way you spoke? I'm into lots of meditation, yoga, and things like that, and I could resonate a lot with you. I could reflect a lot with you. So it was a very interesting session, and thank you, Shanti, for having Shraddha. So how do you go about, Shraddha? How can we reach out to you? How can we talk? I just wanted to know in depth all that.
Sure. So thank you, Preeta. Thank you for deep listening, and I'm happy that it resonated a lot. And I think these deep reflections are the spaces where we grow a lot. So I do certain workshops sometimes, but the most easiest way to reach out to me is through a 45-minute pre-discovery conversation that I do. And from that space, then we choose which path to take. And I do group coaching, one-on-one coaching. I conduct workshops. So these are the very many ways I go on impacting people.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shraddha,
Okay.
would you be okay to share that link where people can set up or connect with you for that?
Sure, definitely. I can share that. I can share
When we
that.
share the recording, maybe we can.
Yeah, we can share that for sure. We can share that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.